Nice. Hey guys, thank you everybody for coming to my channel and coming to check it out and watching this video today. So first and foremost, I want to tell everybody that I'm actually shooting this video on the Nikon Z780, and whatever quality you're seeing, whether you like it or don't like it, just keep that in mind, because in my previous videos I've actually been talking about this camera and its video capabilities. Before I start this video, please, anybody who can, please hit the like button down below. That would really help me with the YouTube algorithm, and that would really help promote my channel. If you like my content, please subscribe to this channel, which would also be really great for me. Thank you so much in advance. So today, like I said, we're actually talking about the Nikon Z50. And I got this camera with the 16 to 50 kit lens, which is $99 with the lens. I also got an FTZ adapter, which is an adapter that you can add to your camera, which also allows you to use the F-mount lenses from Nikon. I'll be honest with you, before I got this camera, which is a mirrorless crop sensor camera, I would not have actually used Nikon for video. Nikon for video up until the Z6 to the Z7 was not acceptable. Obviously, I'm a Nikon user. I use Nikon for my wedding photography, for my portrait photography, but you know, I'm also into cameras. I understand the way they work and the way lenses work and everything, and I understand that Nikon is not the best camera. Obviously, until the Z6 and the Z7 came out, they were not the best camera for video, hands down. It's totally understandable. For photography, like I said, I love them. I feel like Nikon has one of the sharpest lenses, as well as the best color spectrum, which is my personal opinion. Diving into this, like I said, you can throw this into your pocket, and it's so small. And honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this little lens right here, which is a pancake lens, right? This is a phenomenal lens. I've started vlogging with this recently, and if you check out any of my previous videos, they're actually made on this camera. This camera is just phenomenal. I can't express to you enough how great of a camera it is for its price and the lens that comes with it. Now, moving forward, talking about the lens, this is actually a 16 to 50 pancake lens, right? Focus is very fast and very quietly, which makes it very ideal for video. You don't need an onboard mic, because Nikon initially they had the issue of the lenses making noise and the video being very unusable unless you had an external mic. This doesn't do focus breathing. This lens also is very, like I said, very quiet and very fast, which is also very amazing. This lens, even though it doesn't say it, fun fact for you is a big secret, this lens has vibration reduction, which Nikon users know that means that it actually doesn't vibrate when you move it. That's actually a very big plus for when you're shooting video. It stabilizes your video footage, and it just makes it so nice to shoot with. You know, you don't really notice shakes, and on top of that, the Nikon Z50 actually has in-body electronic stabilization, not to be confused with IBIS, which is in-body stabilization, which is when your sensor moves around to compensate for the vibration. And it's funny because this is a DX lens. This is a DX lens. This is a crop sensor lens, and for a DX lens, this is actually one of the best DX lenses I've used, and it's really phenomenal. So let's talk about the next thing on this camera, which is actually the battery and the battery life. So this is the battery for this Nikon Z50. As you can see over here, this battery has 1120 milliamps. This is the ENEL25 battery. So this is a brand new battery. They never had this before, so you actually cannot get a generic version for a cheaper price of this battery. Like I said, this battery is really good. Not the best, but really good. I'll tell you why. So this battery is actually rated to take 350 pictures in about 45 minutes of video. 350 pictures is actually not what I experienced with this camera. I've experienced well over 600 shots on this camera. I've taken this camera to side shoot weddings, and the pictures came out phenomenal. I will try to put them up there so you guys can see them. The pictures look very good. After a little bit of retouching, a little bit of editing, pictures came out phenomenal. And honestly, that's phenomenal in terms of a crop sensor camera. For me to be able to say that I can use this camera in a wedding is phenomenal, because no one uses crop sensor cameras for weddings, and if you do, you probably shouldn't. But this is, I would say, an exception to the rule. I wouldn't use it as your main camera. Let's say if you're running a studio and you have a person shooting on the side, sometimes what we do in our studio, we have two people shooting one person, one that's telling her, like her or him, you know, how to pose, and another person on the side getting the side action, making it look and appear as if, you know, you're getting everything naturally, which is something that we do. It's a little bit of a trick that we do in our studio. So, like I said, this battery actually goes really long, which is great for vlogging. 45 minutes of vlog time is amazing. If anybody that shoots vlogs knows that 45 minutes is well more than enough. If you're shooting B-roll, if you're shooting A-roll, it's perfect. I think it's great. So the thing I don't like about this battery is that this battery actually is very expensive. It comes out to be $70. I saw it recently on Amazon to be $10 off, $60. Honestly, I'm a person that shoots with third-party batteries, and some of you will be like, no, that's actually not a smart thing to do, because, you know, the stock batteries have a special wiring to them where it makes it that the battery is able to work better with the camera. Well, yeah, okay, I don't know. I'm sorry. I shoot third-party batteries. Sorry, that's how it is. So let me tell you about this camera specifically. This camera, phenomenal build quality. This camera is weather sealed. And now, if you don't know what weather sealed is, weather sealed means you could take this, and if it gets rained on, it'll be fine. If dust gets on it, it'll be fine. And other crazy weather conditions, this camera will survive. This camera is an absolute beast. So you have buttons and dials over here, right? So we have the shutter button, we have the on and off button, on and off switch. We have the record button, we have the exposure compensation, we have a back dial, we have a front dial, we have the hot shoe, we have the different modes, you have that switches to photography and switches to videography in an instant. Let's go into the front. We actually have our zoom in and zoom out that's on the screen itself. This screen is has its own local zoom in and zoom out function that is actually touch based. Different display modes we have the up, down, left, right, and OK button. We have the information button, menu, play button, and to delete. So this button over here is actually the focus lock, and this button controls whether you look through the electronic viewfinder or if you look at the through the live view mode, which is also amazing and phenomenal. And this is actually mainly what I use. I actually don't use the electronic viewfinder at all. All right, so what you have on this side of the camera is you actually have your micro USB port. It's a micro USB port. It's not a USB Type-C. There's the HDMI port micro, and there is the mic. There is no headphone jack. Here, let me open these up for you. So if you check those out, this is actually a micro USB, micro HDMI port, and you have the mic port right here. So on top of the camera, you have a bunch of different modes. The M is for manual, the A is for aperture priority, S is for shutter speed, the P is for programmable, the auto button is for automatic, which sets up all the settings for you. The scene button is the mode you set it on to set it if whether you're shooting outside or inside, or if you're shooting a portrait, and it's for easy setting setup. There is a U1 and a U2, which is a user 1 and a user 2 mode, which is great for programming your settings and to be able to switch to them right away. The effects tab is exactly what it says. It's different effects that you can add to your camera while you're shooting, what we can get into in another video. What's great about this camera, I'll tell you, and I really love this, is the fact that it's touchscreen. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, the touchscreen is like really an amazing thing to have, and it makes it so much easier to use touchscreen. You don't realize how much it speeds up your workflow and your process to just be able to touch, oh, I want 25 frames per second, I want 60 frames per second, I want 120 frames per second. It just makes it so much easier. So here I'm actually going to show you what it looks like through touchscreen. Look at that. See? Look at that. And this actually takes me to the next portion, which is face detection and eye detection. It is unbelievable how great the face detection is on this. It finds me like anywhere. You see how fast it is? It's so beautiful. That's that. You could just press on it. It takes a picture right away. Are we in video mode? We're in video mode. See, it finds my face right away. You can just press it and boom, it took a picture just like that. Just like that. It's amazing, guys. It takes a picture instantaneously. So if we wanted to use the electronic viewfinder, I'm actually going to try to set it up for you guys to be able to see it. The electronic viewfinder looks something like this. There we go. So that's the electronic viewfinder. What you're seeing right now is the eye autofocus. It detects my eye, which makes it so much simpler to shoot, because the main thing the photographers look for is the eye to be in focus, which is phenomenal. It's great, and it's so fast, and it just makes shooting video and shooting photo that much more easy and that much more interesting, and it gets you into it. When things are made easier for you, it just makes it that much easier to create and makes it that much more fun to create, I feel like, and that shouldn't be thought as a weakness. I think a lot of people will say things like, oh well, that's a weakness, you should be able to just like zoom in and you know, get in your settings in and dial in. Like, no, you know, it's fun. It's really fun to be able to go into your camera and use easier settings. Why not? Just, you know, if it's available, use it. You know, like I discussed this in one of my previous videos, that if a person has a tool in his toolkit, he should be able to use it, and I strongly believe that, especially in this case right here. One of the different things that Nikon did, and it really tried to stand out, it looks like, from its competitors, which is actually funny to me. It actually tried to do a rotate down screen, a flip down screen, instead of flipping to the side or flipping up like Canon and Sony. Actually, it's funny that no one mentions this, but one of the old Nikon crop sensor cameras actually had a flip out screen, and I wonder why they decided to deviate from that. But either way, there are a lot of good sides to I see a lot of comments on YouTube saying that it's a bad thing, but I like it. I'll tell you why. When you actually turn on the camera, you unzoom it, unclick it the way it's supposed to be unclicked. When you use the camera, you're able to see yourself, and what's great about it is you could actually look slightly down, as opposed to when the screen is on the side and you look at yourself, you could clearly see that you're looking to the side, which is, it looks weird in a video, especially when you see yourself like, oh, I'm watching my video, I'm doing a playback and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I'm not looking at the camera, I'm actually looking to the side, and it looks weird. Just maybe to creators it looks weird, but in general, you know, it's something that we prefer not to do, and looking down instead of looking to the side, you know, just makes it that much more natural. Yeah, your eyes are looking slightly down, but you can't really tell that that you're looking at a screen opposed to looking at the lens. So the thing is that when you try to mount this on a tripod or so, and you want to flip down the screen and see yourself, that's actually really hard to do. The reason for this being that the tripod would be in the way of the screen, which makes the screen unusable. I actually found a workaround for this. There's an app that Nikon provides, which you can download. It's called SnapBridge. It's an amazing app, let me tell you why. These cameras, and all cameras nowadays, come with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability, which makes it really, really easy to connect to your phone. And they use that capability to be able to use your phone as a monitor. Yes, you could connect, by the way, I took this picture myself. You can connect to your phone through the camera, which is an amazing thing to have. You could connect your phone to the camera, which lets you use that as a monitor, and that is phenomenal. So the Nikon Z series lenses are great, I'll tell you why, and the Nikon Z sensors themselves are great for the reason that they actually allow one stop more light, and I did notice that myself. This lens says that it stops down to 6.3. When I tested it to a 2.8 lens, I realized that it's actually not that many stops different. I actually got a lot more light at certain points. So this Nikon lens actually allows for more light to come in, which is tremendous when you're in low light situations. And this is a really big lifesaver for that time where you just need that extra kick and you really don't want to up your ISO, and it's phenomenal. So this camera actually does have a pop-up flash. The pop-up flash is something you might not use often, but it is good to have. I've noticed in some tight situations where I've needed to shoot, that I've needed flash, it's actually saved my life. That's basically it for this camera, guys. This camera is phenomenal, like I said, for vlogging, for having stills on the go. I've used it for a vacation camera. I've used it for vlogging. Initially I bought it and I thought to myself, what am I doing? I don't even need it. But then the more I used it, I realized that this camera is a beast, and that I can apply this to so many more different types of forms of media. For comparison, this is a Nikon D750. It's a huge camera. Imagine taking this, or imagine taking one of these. It's just a world's difference. It's so much easier to carry around, and I feel like it's great to be able to have that portability because it makes you want to take more pictures. It's small, it's easy to take with you, the color is great on it, straight out of camera. What I don't like about this camera, maybe the flip down screen is annoying sometimes, but I said that there's a workaround by just using your phone and pairing it up. There is a fix for that. You can buy a small rig and attach it to your camera, and that will make it work with a tripod. The battery life it could be improved upon. I really wish there was a micro USB-C cable instead of a micro USB. One memory card, but it's a DX camera, so you know it makes sense. It's a crop sensor camera. Crop sensor cameras don't actually usually have two memory cards. And the last thing would be IBIS. I wish I had IBIS, and that's about it. Other than that, this camera is perfect, guys. Honestly, I highly recommend it. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Like I said, please, guys, for the YouTube algorithm, for my exposure, please, if you can, leave a thumbs up. If you like this content, like I said, please hit the subscribe button. That would be really much appreciated. And if you have any questions or you have any ideas for any future videos, please leave a comment below. All right, guys, that's it for this video. All the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace.